Okay, so it's been enough time. We have let our resin kind of let some of the bubbles come out of it. I need another craft stick. All right, and so now we are going to pour, not too much at one time. You don't want to use all of it in case you get a couple of little inconsistencies on your edges and you may need to add a little more. So just pour on. Just make sure you save a little bit just in case you need more. You got too much on one tile or whatever. Then you take your popsicle stick and you gently move your resin towards the edges. And you do this for all of them, obviously. Make sure you get all of it. It is a self-leveling resin, so make sure you are on a level surface or your resin will drip off the sides of all of your stuff and you'll get a very inconsistent layer. So just make sure you are working on a surface that is flat. Just cover your whole surface of your tile with the resin. I really like these popsicle sticks or craft sticks, whatever you call them, just because you can make sure that it's covered real well. And I suggest wearing gloves with this. I don't. I should. Stuff probably isn't exactly good for your skin, but I have bad habits. So I would wear gloves, especially if you've never worked with this before, because it can get very, very, very messy. Yeah, you'll see you've got a lot of air bubbles, but I will show you how to get rid of those with the torch in just a moment. This takes a little patience. Don't go too fast. Make sure you've covered every area. So you just get a nice thin coat of resin. Alright, I think I've got them all pretty good. Resin is expensive. I do not like wasting it, so I'm going to add my last little bit to my tiles. This one definitely seemed like it could use a little more resin than the other ones. Or if you have way more left over, enough to do another coaster, you could just coat another coaster you have done, or just add this to the top of the rest, or you can use it to resin some pendants or some jewelry, whatever. But I don't like to waste. I'm pretty frugal. And this resin I actually buy, it's Envirotex Light, and I use a 40% off coupon at Michael's because this stuff's like 30 bucks for the size of the bottles that I get, so I do not like to pay full price for this stuff. Always use a coupon if you can. And just get it spread on there real even. It will even itself out, and some of it will start to drip off the sides, and that is okay because we have backed our tiles. We've prepared for that. As long as you put some painter's tape or something on the back of your tiles, this drippy mess should not be too much of a deal for you. Alright, so I've got it all spread nice and evenly. And the next step is the blowtorch. And you can probably see some of it dripping off the sides. That, once again, is totally fine. It's better to have a little too much resin than not enough, because the chemical process has started since you mixed the hardener and the resin together, and you don't want to have to make another batch and pour over, because by that time, yeah, it might just be a loss. So make sure you mix enough. I've found that you can do about 4 tiles with, what was the measurements? About a little less than 2 ounces of product. Let's see. So we've got those. They all look good other than some air bubbles, but I will show you the magic of the blowtorch now. So you just put it on, and all those bubbles are going to come out. I don't know how well you can see that happening, so let me grab my iPad and get a little closer for you so you can see. I don't know if you can see that on the camera very well or not. I sure hope so, though. And then you just take your blowtorch. Sorry for the, see all the bubbles rising and coming up. It's really hard to do this while you're looking at a camera screen. So, really sorry for the really crappy shots, but they look nice and shiny now. Prop this back up. And I'm going to go over a couple of more times because I still got some air bubbles in there. Every once in a while you get a bubble or two that's very stubborn and doesn't want to come out. You can either try to get those out with a toothpick immediately, and I say immediately because if you don't do it like right now, like I'm about to do, you will end up with dips in your coaster. They don't come out perfect. You can always re-resin them. I have a feeling that this one, because these bubbles are being a pain, if I did not get to them in time, I can always put another coat of resin on top. But if I don't have to, I don't want to because that's more money. Just go back over again one more time. The blowtorch. And you'll probably want to revisit these in 10 more minutes and blowtorch again. Just check because bubbles will continue to rise. So you'll probably want to check every 10 or 15 minutes or so for new bubbles. And just blowtorch them again. I would do that about 2 or 3 times, but after about 15-20 minutes, I would leave the blowtorch alone after that. Just come back every 5 or 10 minutes. Yeah. Definitely after 30 minutes, do not add any more fire to it. You can probably do it a few more times after the 15-minute window, but after that, I would not mess with it. So we've got them sitting. There's dust and dirt, and if you're like me and have animals, animal hair in the air. So with these being wet, you want to cover them. Definitely want to use, sorry, do not mind my very messy craft room. Use something to cover them. Probably not a cardboard box because some of the little fuzzies from the cardboard can fall off. Whoops, this was my prop for the camera. Sorry. Terrible video, guys. I apologize. So this is just like a storage box for scrap paper. I'm just gonna cover my area with that. Then I'll come back to it in a little while. But it's very important to keep this covered because the first 24 hours, any dust or debris will stick right onto these coasters and then it will mess them up. So yeah, that is it. Just let them sit there, let them do their thing, check on them for bubbles every 10 or 15 minutes or so, and then after about 30 minutes, leave them alone and just let them do their thing. Come back to them in 24 hours. They will appear hard, but they will not be. So I would let them sit for at least 48 hours before handling them. Then you can peel the tape off of the back. I still would not use them as coasters for about 3 weeks because the Envirotex Light, even though it seems cured, if you put a cup on it after 2 or 3 days, it will leave a cup ring. I found that it does kind of go back to normal if it doesn't sit on the coaster overnight or anything, but it will leave a ring for the first couple of weeks during the curing. So I would let them sit for about 3 weeks before I actually use them as a coaster. When you're done with them, you can peel the tape off the back very gently, and then you can glue some cork or some craft foam or some felt to the back of them, and then they will be ready to go as coasters. They make great gifts. I hope you enjoyed this video despite my terrible camera skills. So yeah, and there they are. See the resin dripping? You definitely want to put some wax paper or something down because you will damage your work surface. But yeah, so the drips right there, that is why that tape is so important, because you will be sanding like crazy if you do not tape the backs of your coasters. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Bye.